Do you want to know why most men never make a woman miss them? Because they try too hard, they chase, they cling, and they think being constantly available will win her heart. But here's the shocking truth: being too available makes you invisible. Absence creates desire because nothing intensifies longing more than the sudden removal of what someone once took for granted. When you are always present, always available, always responding instantly, you may think you are proving love or commitment, but in reality, you are stripping away the very space in which attraction breathes, because attraction is not built in constant presence. It is built in tension. It is built in curiosity. It is built in the moments where someone feels your absence and realizes they have grown accustomed to you without appreciating your presence. And this is the secret most men never understand, that showing up too much does not prove your worth, it lowers it. And the paradox of human desire is that we value what we must work for, we crave what we cannot easily reach, and we miss what is not always there. So if you want any woman to miss you, you must learn the art of disappearing with purpose. You must learn that your presence loses power when it is overused, but it gains power when it is withheld. And withholding does not mean playing cheap games or manipulating feelings. It means knowing your life has meaning and direction beyond the pursuit of a woman. It means having confidence to walk away and not collapse inside when she does not instantly follow. It means realizing that if you flood someone with your attention, they will drown in it until they feel no thirst. But if you pull back, that thirst returns, and thirst is what creates desire. And desire is what makes someone miss you when you disappear, not in anger but in quiet confidence. She begins to wonder where you are. She begins to think about what you are doing. She begins to miss you. The way your energy filled the space, because absence magnifies presence and silence amplifies memory. It forces the mind to replay conversations, to relive moments, to search for meaning in what is no longer being said, and that search is what burns your image into her mind. The reason most men fail here is because they confuse silence with weakness. They think disappearing makes them forgotten, but the truth is, only forgettable men are forgotten. The man who stands tall, who walks away with dignity, who focuses on building his mission while she feels his absence, that man cannot be erased from memory because she feels both the loss and the respect he commands. Absence creates a gap, and human nature hates gaps. We rush to fill them, and when the gap is created by your sudden stillness, she rushes to fill it with thoughts of you, with questions about you, with longing for you. And this is why some men seem unforgettable even when they are gone, because they know that space is not emptiness, it is energy, it is magnetic tension that pulls the other person in. But here is the painful reality: if you never step back, if you never give her the chance to feel your absence, she will never know what it is like to miss you. She may appreciate you, she may like you, but appreciation is not longing, and liking is not obsession. Only absence creates that. So when you think about her, do not think about how many texts you can send. Think about how many you should not send. When you plan your days, do not plan them around how available you can be. Plan them around your goals, your mission, your passion, because the more you immerse yourself in life, the more she feels left out of it, and that feeling of being left out is what makes her crave to be let back in, and that craving is the essence of missing someone. Imagine this clearly: if every time she calls you answer instantly, if every time she wants to see you, you drop everything, she will assume you have nothing else of value. But if she calls and you are busy, if she texts and you take your time, if she wants to see you but you have commitments, then suddenly you are not predictable. You are not at her disposal. You are a man with a life, and that life is what she will want to enter, because it is not given freely. It must be earned, and what must be earned is always valued. Absence creates desire because it forces reflection, and reflection makes someone measure what you meant to them. When you are gone, she begins to notice the void. She notices the laughter missing, the attention missing, the energy missing, and the longer she feels that space, the more she begins to crave the return. But the craving is only powerful if your presence had meaning in the first place, which is why disappearing with purpose requires that your presence was valuable. If you gave her nothing to remember, then absence will not save you. But if you gave her confidence, peace, laughter, strength, then when you step back, those things echo in her mind, and she will not only miss you, she will miss the man who brought those things into her world. So the first step is to live with strength, the second step is to pull away with confidence, and the final step is to never panic when the silence stretches, because silence is not your enemy. Silence is your ally. Silence is the invisible rope that pulls her thoughts toward you. Absence creates desire because it shows her a taste of life without you. And if you have lived as a man of value, that taste is bitter. It is empty. It is lonely, and that loneliness is what makes her long for you again. So never be afraid to step back. Never be afraid to disappear with purpose. Never be afraid to create that distance. Because in that distance you do not lose power, you multiply it, you do not fade away, you become unforgettable, and when the thought of you returns, it does not return as a casual memory, it returns as a fire, a longing, an ache, and that ache is what makes any woman miss you with a depth she cannot explain, but she cannot ignore. Self-respect is magnetic because it is the foundation of all attraction and the silent force that makes any woman see you as unforgettable. A man who does not respect himself will always struggle to earn the respect of others because respect is not given freely. It is commanded by the way you carry yourself, by the standards you enforce, and by the boundaries you protect. When you build a life where you refuse to compromise your dignity, when you refuse to beg, when you refuse to settle for scraps of attention, you automatically raise your value in the eyes of every woman you encounter. Most men fail not because they lack charm or looks, but because they lack self-respect. They bend over backwards. They chase relentlessly. They tolerate disrespect. They accept being treated as an option, and then they wonder why they are forgotten. The truth is simple. If you do not value yourself enough to demand respect, then no one else will, because people always measure your worth by the price you put on yourself. If you walk around showing you are desperate, available at every second, willing to put up with lies, inconsistency, or disregard, then you silently teach her that she can treat you however she wants. But if you stand tall, if you refuse to compromise, if you let her know by your actions that your time, energy, and presence are precious, then suddenly you are no longer ordinary, you are rare, and rarity is irresistible. Women are drawn to men who protect their dignity because it signals strength, it signals leadership, it signals that you are not just existing to please but living to build something bigger than her validation. And here is the shocking truth. The very moment you choose self-respect over temporary comfort, you become unforgettable. When you let go of begging for calls, chasing after someone who ignores you, tolerating disrespectful behavior, you step into a higher category, the category of men who are valued and remembered. Self-respect is magnetic because it creates boundaries that spark desire. When she realizes she cannot walk all over you, when she realizes she cannot just vanish and return at will without consequences, when she realizes you will walk away instead of waiting forever, she begins to measure her actions differently. She begins to feel your worth in your absence. She begins to miss the fact that you did not bend like everyone else. The reason self-respect is so powerful is because it is rare in a world full of men chasing without standards. A man who pauses, a man who refuses, a man who says no becomes unforgettable, and that unforgettable presence is what she will miss when you are not there. Because deep down every woman knows the difference between a man who has boundaries and a man who has none. One is ordinary, the other is legendary. Self-respect also forces you to focus on yourself, to build a life that is bigger than the chase. Because when you are rooted in respect, you invest in your growth, your fitness, your finances, your mission, your peace, and that investment radiates from you in every interaction. Suddenly she sees a man who is not desperate for her approval, but already full, already valuable, already glowing, and that glow is magnetic because it pulls her in without you even trying. Desperation pushes her away, but dignity pulls her closer, and the irony is this: the more you respect yourself, the more she begins to respect you, the more you hold boundaries, the more she begins to crave access to your world, and if she loses you, she will miss not only the man but the standard you set, because the man who respects himself leaves a mark. He becomes the mirror that forces her to look at her own behavior, and when she realizes she cannot find another man who holds himself the way you do, she begins to feel that ache, that longing, that deep regret. This is why self-respect is magnetic, because it is not loud, it is not arrogant, it does not need to boast, it simply exists in the quiet way you decline disrespect, in the strong way you walk away from nonsense, in the steady way you choose yourself over chaos, and every time you make that choice you increase your value. You become a man she thinks about when you are gone. You become the man who stood apart from the crowd, the man who carried himself like royalty, the man who never begged for a throne because he already knew he was a king, and kings do not chase, kings are pursued, kings are respected, kings are remembered. So if you want her to miss you, stop lowering yourself, stop chasing what runs, stop begging for crumbs, start protecting your dignity like your life depends on it. Because in truth it does. Your future, your peace, your confidence, and your influence all flow from the respect you demand for yourself. And once you live that way, you will never again be overlooked. You will never again be treated as disposable. You will never again wonder if she misses you, because she will, not because you tried to make her, but because she cannot forget the man who carried himself with unshakable self-respect. Mystery fuels obsession because the human mind cannot stop replaying what it does not fully understand. When everything about you is predictable, when every thought is already known, when every move is anticipated, then you become routine, and routine is comfortable but never unforgettable. If you want a woman to miss you so deeply that she feels your presence even in your absence, you must learn the art of unpredictability, not recklessness, not chaos, but controlled mystery, the ability to reveal enough to spark interest, but withhold enough to spark questions, and questions are powerful because unanswered questions replay endlessly in the mind. Every time you let her predict exactly what you will say, exactly what you will do, exactly how you will respond, you give her no reason to wonder about you, no reason to imagine you, no reason to think of you when you are not there. But when you master mystery, when she cannot fully decode your emotions, when she cannot perfectly read your next move, when she feels that you are slightly beyond her reach, then her mind begins to work overtime in your absence. She thinks about you when she wakes up. She wonders what you are doing in the middle of her day. She replays conversations trying to find hidden meanings, and that cycle of thought is what creates obsession. Obsession is not born from answers, it is born from questions, and that is why mystery makes you unforgettable. Most men reveal everything too soon. They overshare, they confess every detail of their lives, they explain their every thought, they make themselves transparent like glass. But glass is not what fuels desire. What fuels desire is the curtain, the locked box, the unfinished sentence, the smile that hides more than it shows, because those things keep the imagination alive, and imagination is far more powerful than reality. When she imagines you, she fills in the gaps with her own desires. She projects onto you what she wants. She makes you larger than life in her mind, and that projection makes her miss you when you are gone, because in her thoughts you become both real and imagined, predictable enough to trust, but unpredictable enough to crave. The balance of familiarity and mystery is what makes someone addictive. So never give away all of yourself instantly. Let time reveal you like chapters in a book. Let her crave the next page. Let her wonder what is behind the door you have not yet opened. Because the man who reveals everything instantly becomes disposable, while the man who holds back strategically becomes unforgettable. Mystery also comes from your ability to be emotionally steady yet not emotionally plain. When you react with too much eagerness, when you show too much need, when you always respond instantly, she knows exactly where she stands, and that knowledge kills curiosity. But when you remain composed, when you sometimes delay your responses, when you are warm one moment and reserved the next, you create tension, and tension is the electricity of desire. It is what makes her check her phone twice. It is what makes her wonder if you are thinking about her. It is what makes her dream about you when you are not there, because her mind cannot rest without solving the puzzle you create. And the truth is, she does not even want to solve it. She wants to keep playing the game in her mind because the mystery itself becomes addictive. Imagine this clearly: if you always tell her where you are, what you are doing, who you are with, you leave no space for her imagination. But if sometimes you simply say you are busy, if sometimes you let her wonder, if sometimes you walk away without explanation, then suddenly you are not just a man, you are a story. You are a riddle, you are a memory she keeps revisiting, and revisiting is the very definition of missing someone. Obsession is born in those revisits, in the way she replays what you said, in the way she overthinks your silence, in the way she questions whether you meant more than you said, and each question becomes a hook that ties her mind to you. This is why emotional unpredictability is so powerful, because it stops her from feeling like she has conquered you. People only miss what they feel they have not fully captured. When she feels she already has all of you, she relaxes, she stops craving. But when she feels there is still more to discover, more to earn, more to unlock, she stays restless, and restlessness is what makes her miss you deeply. So be intentional with your mystery. Do not be cruel, do not be manipulative, but be unpredictable enough to spark intrigue. Show kindness without always explaining it. Show affection without always announcing it. Show restraint without apology, because every time you break the script, every time you step outside of what she expects, you deepen her obsession, and obsession is what makes absence unbearable. When you are gone, she does not just miss your presence, she misses the questions, the curiosity, the wondering, the sense of never quite having enough of you. That is why mystery is not weakness, it is power. It is the invisible thread that ties her thoughts to yours even when you are nowhere near. And when you learn to master this, you will never again worry about being forgotten, because the man who embodies mystery is never forgotten. He is studied, he is analyzed, he is missed, he is replayed endlessly in the mind of the woman who cannot fully figure him out.